Ofori is a seasoned, international award-winning voiceover artist, award-winning radio presenter, TV host, and motivational speaker. She is also a presenter on East Coast Radio every weekday between 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Carol has written a series of children's books titled The African Adventures of Sina and Katlego after struggling to find African stories to read his son Sina, who the books are named after. Finally, she also works on a website called Rating for Schools with her husband, a website which helps parents find the best schools for their kids based on a bunch of different factors. So, Carol, thank you so much for joining us today on my podcast, Slaying With Asa, where I slay with celebrities each and every day of the week. So now, Carol, I took some interest in you, and as a journalist, I actually did my job and investigated a bit about you and found some interesting facts about you, of which I think would actually intrigue my fans as well.
Oh, lovely.
So basically, I came to realize that you are a woman of many talents, a jack of all trades. So
Yes,
I'm just going to explore those different sides with you today on the show. Are you ready? Are you excited?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it, Carol. Okay. First of all, Carol, you ventured into a various creative fields, from voiceover artistry to writing children's books. Can you share with us what inspires your creativity and how do you manage to excel in those diverse areas?
I think I'm just a creative by at heart, I was very fortunate to discover very early on in my studying life that a 9 to 5 rigid job would just not satisfy me, and that I needed to have flexibility and I needed to be allowed to play in all sorts of creative spaces. So I worked in, an office environment when I was like 18 years old for a big, insurance company. And I just knew that this is not the way I'm going to enjoy life. And ventured into, journalism, writing, and that really allowed me to go into spaces that just tapped into my creative thoughts, my creative talents, and my creative skills. So it all stemmed down from completing my journalism degree. After doing that, I worked as a journalist for a short period. And from there, I found myself going into, music radio and behind the mic, and everything else kind of fit into it. The voiceovers, the television, the further down writing of books was me just saying, I want to go back to what got me into this world of creativity, which is writing. So yeah, I think I get my creative, push from just knowing in my core that I am a creative by nature. I just I'm always colors and just thinking bigger than just the box, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. So now, speaking of journalism, I've investigated some facts about you that you are also a radio presenter at East Coast Radio every weekday. So can you share with us your journey on the radio industry and how do you manage to connect with your fans, especially now that you have a variety of voice speaking, like Jenny, if I can put it that way?
Yeah. So my radio career spans about 20 years. I've worked in various formats of radio. I've worked in commercial radio, which is like your East Coast Radio, 947. I did a month at Kaya FM very early on in my career. Also worked at Radio 2000, Metro FM. So I've done a good 20 years of commercial radio, but I also did some retail radio, which is where I really cut my teeth. I worked on Edgar's Music Radio and Jet FM. And then early days, I did community radio, which is where my radio career started. I was on RAW Radio, which is now UJFM. So I'm really happy that I've been able to work on all platforms of radio outside of online radio. And it's just been a medium I've absolutely loved, a medium I've sort of just connected with, and it's just come naturally to me. And I find that I connect with my audience every year that I'm getting more immersed in being myself. When I was younger, it was so hard to to actually just be yourself on the radio, speak your truths, not feel like you have to be wary of what you say and how you say it. Now that I've been doing it for so long, it's a lot easier to naturally be myself, and I think most people won't understand that, but I think when you start in radio, you feel like you have to have a certain tone that you put on when you speak on the radio,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just part of you learning yourself in this process, right? So I started off obviously having a radio voice, welcome to the show. This is and then you learn that that's not that's not you.
That's not very
And here I am
authentic.
now. Right. And here I am now, and I can have a conversation like I'm having with you on the radio. And it's just naturally me. So I think I connect through being myself. People love, or authentic individuals.
Okay. So coming to your writing part now, can you tell us what inspired you to write children's books? Out of all the kind of books that you could have ventured into, why did you choose to write children's books? And what's the motive behind it?
Yeah, children's books is, I'm a mom. I've got two beautiful kids, and I love Africa. My husband is originally from Ghana. I'm South African, so we're this Pan-African family that loves being, from this continent. And I just couldn't find books that told kids stories about other African countries and the magic that those countries have, including our very own country. And so because they weren't there, I decided to write those books. And the amazing publishers that I've been working with, Lingua Franca, came on board and said, look, we happy to publish the books. And we didn't just do one book, we did 6 books. So we visited 6 countries: South Africa, Ghana, Egypt, Eswatini, Uganda, as well as Ghana. I don't know if I said Ghana twice. Egypt, did I say it?
Yeah, I did.
Did I say Ghana twice?
Yes.
So it's South Africa, it's Egypt, it's Uganda, it's Ghana, it's
Eswatini.
did I say? Yeah, Chad. Chad's the one that I was missing. So we visit all the corners of the continent, 6 of them, 6 countries, and it tells the story of this little boy called Sena. The books are called The African Adventures of Sena and Katlego, and it tells the story of this little African boy who's got family everywhere on the continent, and he has this teddy bear called Katlego, whom has magical powers that can teleport him anywhere to visit his family just by rubbing this teddy bear's nose. So he visits cousins and aunties and all sorts of family and learns about those respective countries. So the books didn't exist, and that is the reason why I wrote them. And now my kids know Chad, my kids know Eswatini, my kids know Uganda, they know Ghana, because they can touch and read these books and see these images and imagine visiting and being a part of that culture and just immersing themselves in the experience.
Wow, that's actually lovely. So, Carol, what challenges have you faced throughout your whole journey? From you being versatile, doing this in the media, doing that in the production, and now venturing into writing the children's books. Surely there have been some obstacles, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, no, obstacles are definitely there. I think anywhere you want to go that's above the level you're at now will come with obstacles and challenges. And I mean, in every phase of what I do, whether it's radio, whether it's writing the books, whether it's ratings for schools.co.za, where we have the school finding portal, there's been challenges in each sphere. And I guess the key to it is having the right people around you who will remind you of your worth, who will remind you of your dreams, and who will support you. They may not always see your vision, but what they see is you and you wanting to succeed, and them supporting you in that space is incredibly important in getting over challenges. Also, just accepting that, in life, things will come your way, and you have to find the strength to deal with them, because they will come your way. And I've also just, when it comes to tough times, just allowed tough times to happen, but they don't happen forever. In that moment, I shed my tear, I take the failure, I deal with it in that moment, and once it's done, we move on, we never look back, So that's kind of, how I've always just gotten over challenges. You immerse yourself in the tough time, you ride that wave, and when you come out, you run like you never were in a dark place.
So recently you've actually gave us tips on how people can do public speaking, because I just actually see where those tips come from. You're so confident, you're so bubbly, you just actually know your stuff. So out of all the other topics that you could have chosen to talk about, why was public speaking your main choice?
I think obviously most people have a fear of public speaking. And till this day, I have spoken on many stages. I've done voiceovers for Disney. I've done all these things, but every time there is butterflies, every time there's nervousness, every time you doubt yourself. I think it's just part of human nature. So I kind of feel like it's that time of the year where people may need to go onto, a public speaking platform and have a say, whether it's at the year-end party, whether it's at the Christmas party, thanking, your colleagues, or maybe you're just preparing yourself for next year and the ventures you want to take on. You can use this starter pack to get you through the public speaking you may need to do. So I just think it's something everybody needs. It's like a life skill, being able to articulate yourself is important, and people take you a lot more seriously when you are more articulate and very clear and confident in what you're saying.
So, Carol, you've actually traveled a long journey throughout your whole entire life and throughout your whole career. What advice can you give to people out there who have this fear that is holding them back from pursuing their dreams? Because you've mentioned that you've actually even worked for community radios, and that's actually where your career started. So, what advice can you give to people? Because most people do have dreams, but there's only one thing that's preventing them from fulfilling them. It's fear. So, seeing you being outspoken, having achieved a lot, being an award-winning lady, what advice can you give to those people out there?
Yeah, fear is crippling. Fear is incredibly crippling. It's one of those human traits that we all have. Some of us are able to shake it better than others, and some of us just never shake it. I think when you're hungry enough for something, you'll learn how to put the fear in the background and bring whatever you're hungry enough for to the foreground, right? So yes, I'm very alive to the fact that fear is debilitating. Being scared of taking that step, being scared to invest your money in a dream, being scared to approach somebody who could possibly help you. I think you just have to ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? You know, if it is, investing that money, do it. If it's something you really believe in, I'm very spiritually rooted in my religion, Christianity. So I pray about everything. I pray about everything. I pray and meditate to a point where I can feel a burning direction within me. And I know that there's certain things that you they just sitting on your chest and they just won't go away. And when I have those kind of feelings, I know that I'm not alone in chasing whatever it is that's inside me. Whether it is a radio career, whether it is writing books, whether it is our website, all of these things, if I have that feeling of fire in me about it, I know that it's driven by a higher power. And I have to have faith and trust that the good Lord will see me through it, that he will guide me, that I am not feeling this way because I'm misguided, but I'm feeling this way because it's the fire I need to propel me to the next step. And then you have to remind yourself that nobody gets far by being scared. Nobody gets anywhere by being scared. We wouldn't have the South Africa we have today if our leaders were scared, So fear doesn't serve anybody. It doesn't get you anywhere. All it does is that it feeds an insecurity and puts you in a place where you never go beyond that space of thought. So relinquishing it opens doors and opportunities to seeing the world, enjoying the world, living your dreams up, and connecting with your true purpose. Yeah.
Definitely, Carol. And I think one thing people must start doing from now onwards is telling themselves, or asking themselves rather, what if, instead of thinking about what could go wrong. So basically,
Right.
your advice is top tier, and hopefully our fans are going to learn more from you. So before we actually let you go, Carol, where can our fans find you and follow your work?
Yes. Okay. So schools are opening. We have a great website called ratingsforschools.co.za. It's a website my husband and I literally created to help mums and dads find schools, and then also for schools to find mums and dads. So go and check it out. This whole thing is growing. So that's a very beautiful baby of mine. So you'll find me ratingsforschools.co.za. Also social media, you can find me Carol at Carol Ofori. Well, that's my email now, Carol at carolofori.com. You can also find me on my socials, Carol Ofori. I'm literally Carol Ofori everywhere. And yeah, go get the books. You can get them at all leading bookshops. Otherwise, you can get them online. Literally, if you type in The African Adventures of Sena and Katlego, you'll find the books. You can buy them online, Take a Lot, Macro. I get surprised when I look. I'm like, wow, they're also selling it. And you can also get it from the publishers. So get the books. They are beautiful educational books. You will love them. And yeah, just you can find me on the socials. I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's it. Otherwise, you'll find me on the streets.
Somewhere in the air.
You know?
Carol, thank you so much for spending your time with us today here on Slaying with Asa. Pardon me now, my mind is all over the place.